Hey everybody, Joey Zero here, and does this background look familiar? I don't know, it seemed familiar to me. Anyway, so the thing I wanted to talk about today is my experience with ADHD, with like seeking treatment or seeking help for my ADHD. So if you don't know, I am very attention deficit, and that has been a thing for my entire life. I had a diagnosis in childhood. The doctors recommended medication at the time, and my parents were like, no, we're not going to medicate him. And in hindsight, that probably would have been pretty good, but I was just kind of like, okay, I'll just learn to cope. And then flash forward into adulthood, I was taking a whole lot of over-the-counter stimulants, drinking coffee and energy drinks like nobody's business. I was smoking a lot, and I just kind of felt that was a part of my routine. I didn't really think a whole lot of it. I knew that those things caused health issues, and I didn't really care. The detriment of going without didn't seem worth the health benefits. Eventually, I ended up speaking with a friend who mentioned that, like, that is, in her understanding, it was a common thing for people with ADHD to take a lot of over-the-counter stimulants as a way of self-medicating. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. Then I had a couple of other people also mention it to me, one right after the other. They were all mentioning it in response to seeing me drink a lot of caffeine and smoke a lot of cigarettes. They were like, maybe you'll talk to somebody about that. Maybe talk to a doctor. So I went to the doctor. We tried a bunch of different stuff. I went to the doctor and I was like, look, I've got ADHD. I really want to quit smoking because I know it's bad for my health. And every doctor was like, yeah, you should do that. So we tried a whole bunch of different stuff. We're mostly just focusing on quitting smoking. We tried to stop smoking aids. Those really didn't work for me. I tried going to the support lines and stuff like that. I tried all kinds of stuff. I tried medication specifically for quitting smoking, and none of it took really. I also tried like CBT. I saw like a couple of different doctors just trying to see if there was somebody that could like kind of work. But the moment at which I was like, okay, this isn't working, was whenever I went to see a therapist, and one of his first questions when I was like, yeah, I'm having a really hard time staying focused. If I set a goal for myself, I lose track of time really easy. I tend to forget about important things sometimes. I'll be in the middle of something or something will come up or like I'll just forget about it. And I'll never forget this one guy was like, well, have you tried setting an alarm on your phone? And my immediate reaction was, dude, like, excuse me? Would I be paying you $300 a fucking hour if I hadn't tried setting an alarm on my phone? Do you really think that if I hadn't tried that, I wouldn't be here? That was the moment that I was like, okay, maybe therapy is needed, but maybe therapy in conjunction with trying some medications, which I was very against. I was like very much like stuck in the mindset I think that I'd had when I was a young kid. Whenever it came to like discussing medications and stuff, I was very much in the same mindset that I think my parents were, which is that, okay, well, I don't need medication. I could just think my way through it. It's a problem with my thinky parts, so all I gotta do is think a little different. I was very reluctant to accept that there was maybe the chemical component that I was just being resistant to dealing with, if that makes sense. I went back to like my main physician and I was like, hey, I think maybe it's time. I'm willing to put in the work here, but let's try and see if there's some medication or something that can help with my ADHD. And again, the main goal was like, okay, well, I really would like to find some kind of medication or something that will help me quit smoking, because that was the main reason why I was seeking help to begin with. So I started taking an SSNRI, I think, and my God, that was horrible. That was the absolute worst. So this was over the course of several years. This was not just a quick like, hey doc, I want you to give me this specific medication. But over the course of several years, we tried a couple of different medications. Each one I was on for about a year until I was like, okay, I don't think this is working out the way we were hoping it would. This was my attempt to work with my medical professionals to address a need. I worked with my doctor. We moved through a number of different medications, and we were, I think, very hesitant, both my doctor and I, to go with like stimulant-based medication. But in the end, that ended up being the first medication that actually made a really big difference. And when I say it made a really big difference, it was like night and day. I've heard a lot of people refer to it like putting putting on glasses for the first time. And it absolutely did feel like that. I was able to concentrate on stuff. I was able to remember things again. So then I had a bit of a health scare, which I don't think was related, but at the behest of my doctor, we switched to a different medication. I'm trying not to name specific names here because I worry a little bit about the algorithm. Maybe we'll do like a part 1, part 2 kind of deal. We switched to a different medication, and again, that was also a stimulant-based medication, and it worked wonders. It really changed my whole life. For the time that I was using it, I suddenly did not have ADHD anymore. It was night and day. Anyway, I'm not on those medications anymore. I think they would probably continue to be very helpful, but like, I also quit smoking, and I'm good for now. Anyway, that's it for now. I hope this has been helpful to somebody out there. Take from this what you will. I just felt it was worth bringing up. Maybe we'll do a part 2 about some of the specific medications and what they did, or maybe we'll talk more about ADHD and managing it without medications. I feel like I've got a much better handle on that these days. Anyway, whatever. Bye.